ACPS. Coming up on Teen Talk, we're going to be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Hey there, ACPS. It's your host, Zoie Prandy, and welcome to Season 2 of Teen Talk. This is a show for students, and on today's episode, we are going to be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. As someone with Dominican roots myself, I am beyond excited to highlight and celebrate our rich history, culture, and contributions of Hispanic Americans in AACPS. The Teen Talk team and I had the amazing opportunity to visit various schools and Spanish honor societies throughout the county to see how students are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's take a look at all the fun activities they had in store. In the studio today, I am joined with some of our very own Hispanic students. They will share their own personal experiences and the significance of this month to them. I am so happy to welcome Helena Miranda from Arundel High School. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me on the show, Zoe.
Of course. Well, can you tell me a little bit about your background and heritage?
So, my mom was born in the Philippines, but on my dad's side, I'm a second generation Guatemalan. And that's significant to me because I learned and my family inspired me because not a lot of my Guatemalan family lives here. So them being so far away has inspired me to learn how to connect with people, even though I might not see them all the time, and still be able to learn about my culture, even if there isn't a huge community around me.
I love that so much. So can you tell me, how do you celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month? What's really the significance to you?
To me, it's about sometimes the works of Hispanics aren't always shown in the way they should be. They're kind of hidden sometimes. And I love that Hispanic Heritage Month is a time where we can exemplify all the accomplishments and contributions that Hispanics have made. And I celebrate it by just thinking about my culture a bit more and, I don't know, eat more food. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, so I know you talked about a lot of Hispanics' works being overlooked. Can you kind of tell me, do you feel adequately represented in Anne Arundel County, or what is your experience as a Hispanic student in this county?
So I don't feel like people disregard my heritage, but I feel like sometimes we are a little underappreciated because the only time that Hispanic heritage is ever talked about or Hispanic history is during Hispanic Heritage Month. And I appreciate that, but then even then, the only people talking about Hispanic Heritage Month are the members of Spanish Honor Society, not teachers and classes and things. So I would say, do I feel represented? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely get that because I'm also Afro-Latino myself, and we're it's rarely talked about. Sometimes you hear about it, sometimes you don't. But I definitely agree with you with wanting to expand that beyond just the classroom. So what recommendations would you have for schools, teachers, and staff on how to better celebrate Latinos and Hispanics beyond just this month?
We learn about so many different in history classes. All we ever talk about is kind of the same people over and over. And I wish that sometimes we could incorporate the histories of Hispanics even beyond that, because in history classes I feel we learn just from the oldest stuff to the newest stuff, and Hispanics are there at some point, and I wish we could just talk about it a bit more when it's not Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. So yet again, like kind of how has your Hispanic heritage just like influenced you, you know, with like what you do? I know you actually, I think you're part of like student government, so how has that really inspired and influenced you?
So in school, I feel like being Hispanic, I like that I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I do know enough to like communicate with people,
Mhm.
and I'm able to help some students who might not speak English and only Spanish. And I really like that I'm able to do that because sometimes like even the teacher can't help them, and like I do what I can because like I said, I'm not fluent, but I try. And then this year I'm going to be like an official mentor, I guess,
That's
for students in ESOL. So I feel like I feel lucky that I'm able to help them.
Yes, yes. I love that, you know, you're wanting to kind of help people from like similar background to you that, you know, may not have those resources. Another question I have for you, like what do you really want people to take away from learning about your perspective and experiences in just Hispanic Heritage Month in general?
Um, Maybe just like see what Hispanics do for them around what Hispanics do for them around their community, because like there's so many Hispanics doing work and we just don't see them. Like we always see the same people at the front of like workplaces and stuff.
All right, thank you so much, Helena, for you know talking to me and just you know sharing your perspective and experience. I think we can learn so much more from just hearing more about Latino students in this county. I am so happy to welcome Karen Mejia Lopez from Crofton High School. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Honored to be here. Thank you, Zoe, for inviting me.
Yes, of course, always. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background and heritage?
Yeah, so my parents, they're both from different countries. My dad is from El Salvador and my mom's from Guatemala. So, every single time they tell me, hey, where's your family from? I'm like, Guatemala, Salvador, and the U.S. because I have three different, types of countries that, represent who I am.
Oh, that's so interesting,
Yeah.
so cool. So, how do you like celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with like all the different ethnicities?
Yeah, no, I think for me, it's every single day because, my mom cooks her, her dishes. My dad also, the pupusas, the tamales, everything. So I think it's always in me. Like, I don't have a specific time. It's every single day.
Yes, I love that. So, like, how has your heritage really like inspired you, like as a student, and like you know all the different things you do?
Every single time, like, my parents, like, they always tell me to, be better because, they had little opportunities in their countries and then coming to the U.S. I think it's something big in me, like, to be better in school, to succeed, and, it's always something that I'm proud to represent.
Yes, I love that so much. So, like, what has your experience been like, you know, as a student enrolled in AACPS, you know, with like kind of wanting to feel better? Like, do you feel treated adequately? All of that.
Yeah, I feel respected, but at like the same time, like we don't talk a lot about Hispanics or people that impacted this country even because I know that so many people they have impacted our country but I think we don't talk a lot about Hispanics as much as we should do because they did have an impact.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And I even remember, like, in some Spanish classes,
Mm.
maybe one class for Hispanic Heritage Month, we may talk about Hispanics, but it's generally like the same people, like, you know, not a broad abundance. Like, what recommendations would you have just for like the county staff or even students to like celebrate more Hispanics just beyond like the ones we always hear about?
Yeah, I think students, Hispanic students should like be more like talk into like our education and say, we want to learn more about, their stories, we want to learn more about what they did, their impacts, and like their challenges because I know each race had their own challenge and it had a great impact into our world as it is today. And I think in our school, we should continue to learn more about them and, just be more united. And I think there are many clubs and I'm grateful for that because they give Spanish Honor Society, Spanish Club, like it's in there, but I think more programming for like their events should be more organized and more like out there.
I love that. Do you have like any like fun activities you would like recommend, or maybe you even do to celebrate your own heritage that we should incorporate or like participate in?
I think like having more. I know there's Cultural Day in our school,
Yes.
so that's something where like the students can come out and like bring their dishes and share out like what they represent, what they eat, what they do, and I think that's a big part that I'm grateful for
Yes,
because we
yes.
can learn about anything.
Yeah, I remember, cause I also go to Crofton High School. I remember us having that day, and it was just so nice to see like all different like ethnicities, especially like with Hispanics and just like even like Afro Caribbeans, which also are Latino, and just like just so many, just different cultures, and it was really nice to have like their food and like just so many things like you were saying. So that's something I absolutely like love.
Yeah, and like you said, I agree because we get to learn more about, not just them, but like what's their background, like where they come from, and they represent their families, and I'm grateful that they feel good about it too. Like they actually want to represent who they are.
Yes, I love that. You know, being proud to be Hispanic Latino. So with that, like, what's your favorite like family tradition or like memory that you've had?
I've had a lot, like countless. Like I said, I have family in El Salvador and Guatemala, and like the majority of them are in their countries, so it's pretty hard to kind of be with them. But I traveled to the countries, so I get to learn about like what they do in the mornings, like their dishes, which is like a big plate of food. And yeah, it's more than just food. It's more about like what they do, and I learn a lot. Every single time I travel, I learn more about them.
I love that. I had something I want to do too. You know, travel more just to gain more knowledge and different experiences. And my last question for today: what do you want people, just from hearing your experience perspectives, to take away from Hispanic Heritage Month as a whole?
I think it's more than just a month to like represent Hispanic Heritage Month. It's more than just that. It's just to like and overall just like be thankful for them and for every race actually. It's not just for Hispanics but for everyone in general. Everyone is important in their own way. Everyone is special, and that's the most important thing.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I love talking with you. Thank you so much, Karen, for coming on the show with me today to talk about your experience as Hispanic and Latino, in ACPS. So,
Thank you, Zoe, for
yes,
inviting me.
of course, always. Hey there, ACPS. It's your host, Zoe, and today I'm at Annapolis High School with Brenda Galvez. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So, can you tell me about your, background and heritage?
So, I come from Mexico and I moved here like around a year and a half ago. So, that's mostly all my heritage.
Okay, so what was your experience like moving from a different country to the United States?
It was pretty tough because when I moved here, I knew nothing. Like, I knew nothing about the culture, language. I knew no one. Like, the only family member here I have is my mom. So, it was pretty tough and different and new environment.
Yeah. So how did you guys adjust, you and your family as like a whole, coming into Anne Arundel?
So what we did it was find some friends in the neighborhood, like try to go out, get to know the place that we're living on right now, and also to find opportunities for both of us to learn English, like going to the library and getting like English classes that they offer and things like that.
Yeah, that's really good. The county, has these opportunities
Yes.
for, immigrants coming in. So it is now officially Hispanic Heritage Month. What does it mean to you and how do you guys celebrate?
So for me, it means to see how much I've grown. Like when I came here, I knew nothing and I came from really low. And little by little, I've been improving, I've been getting new opportunities. And it's also to remember like, how strong we are and how we can improve if we want to. So that's mostly what it means for me, like growth.
In what ways do you think Anne Arundel County can better help immigrants coming into the United States adjust?
A way that helped me a lot was all the programs they have, like ESOL program that they have in schools. That was a really helpful tool for me. That really helped me with my grammar and all of that. And also, I think having more classes in like Spanish or with Spanish like tools will be really helpful for more people, but also not like all of them because we also want to learn English and not get stuck on like having everything like in Spanish, but that will be a good tool for the transition of someone that is coming with no English background.
Yeah, I agree. I know at my school we also have the ESOL programs, and I like that we have different levels of Spanish. Like there's like Spanish 1 all the way up to AP Spanish, so it kind of gives like different, I guess, opportunities to learn.
Yeah.
So another question I have, how has your Hispanic heritage influenced and inspired you in like different activities you may be interested in? Anything?
So I feel like that has been inspiring me on how much I want to grow as person. And also, for example, here at my school, I am part of the Spanish Honor Society. Thanks to that, I also am part of a multilingual mentor program that we help new students that come from other countries that know nothing about school and how the school system works to help them, to guide them. So I think being on that spot already, like knowing nothing, it's also inspiring me and helping me to want to help more people and be like a tool for them so they can like have a better experience.
Yeah, I really love that so much. And I heard you are in the Spanish Honor Society. What events do you guys have coming up for Hispanic Heritage Month?
So we have a Hispanic Heritage Night on October 11th that we're gonna have like games, music. We're gonna have displays of many countries. So that's coming up and it's gonna be extremely fun. We had the same last year and it was a super success.
Yes, it sounds so exciting. And my last question is, what do you hope people learn from hearing about your experience and your perspective about Hispanic Heritage Month and Hispanic people as a whole?
So I hope that they know where do we come from and that we are not in the same level when we come in, because they expect people like us to be on the same level, to have the same like academic abilities, when in reality some of us, I know people that didn't even went to school or didn't have that many opportunities. So just to know that we might not have the same background, but we do have the same spirit to learn and to grow.
I want to thank Brenda so much for talking with me today and sharing her experience. Make sure to come to Annapolis High School on October 11th for their Hispanic Heritage Month Festival to learn more about Hispanic Heritage Month and to celebrate. Welcome back. I am so honored to welcome Ms. Cruz Serrano into the Teen Talk studio today. As the International Family Involvement Specialist, she works to better help the lives of immigrant families coming into AACPS. Ms. Cruz Serrano, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. What about you?
I'm good.
You're doing great.
Yes. So can you tell me a little bit more about your role here in AACPS? Like, what do you do for your job?
So, as of right now, my role as an International Family Involvement Specialist is under the Office of the School and Family Partnership, and I collaborate with the ELD department. You will know that as an ESOL, right? The teachers, and then helping all the AACPS staff utilizing Title III funds or grants to engage a little bit more with their EL students and families. I also host 5 sites this year for English basic skills classes for those ASCPS international families, just to give you a little bit of what I do.
Very interesting. So, like, how many people make up the Hispanic population in Anne Arundel County? Like, also students as well. How many are here?
So this school year have grown like every single year, but the Hispanic student population represent 20% of the student body of 2023-2024. The highest population will be El Salvador with 6%. And then the next two will be Guatemala and Honduras with 3%. And then less than 1% will be my island and your island, Puerto Rico and República Dominicana. We also have Venezuela, Peru, Colombia. So that's the majority of countries that are represented in our county.
So do you know why El Salvadorians specifically make up the most in Anne Arundel County?
What an interesting question. I think as a whole in the northern part of Central America, not only El Salvador, but Guatemala and Honduras will come here seeking safety, maybe avoiding those hardships in their countries. But immigrants as a general will come here because they have more religion of freedom. They maybe have a family member that they can host in here in Maryland. And be honest, we have a fun county to set some roots.
Yes. So what kind of support is available for incoming immigrant Hispanic students in this county?
With the Office of a School and Family Partnership, where I work with, is a lot of resources. I think the point of entrance will be the International Welcome Center for the students and family. Later on will be the bilingual facilitators. They are the bridge between those international families and the school system. And then our office also have services for interpreters, translations, and we collaborate with other departments and offices to provide those services that is needed within the ASCPS or outreach within the community.
So like what advice do you have for like someone like me as a student or even like teachers, how to really just help immigrant students like with translation or even just readjusting to new life?
I will say make them feel welcome, right? Everybody have a journey. So try to invite them to your friends group, or if you play a sport or you're a member of a club, trying to invite them and make them feel welcome. I think Dr. Bedell have emphasized this year of belong, right? So do your best to try for them to feel home. That will be my best opinion.
Yes, I love that so much. So another interesting question I have for you, why is Hispanic Heritage Month like during this time? I know it's kind of in between September and October. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, it is a reason. So actually we do celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month between September 15 and October 15. And the reason why is a lot of the Latin American countries were actually celebrate their Independence Day between those days. So September 15th, you have Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. All of those 5 countries, that first day, celebrate their independence. Then the next day will be Chile, then Mexico, and so forth. So that's why it's kind of in the middle of both months, because within that time, all of them reach the independence, right, and say bye-bye to Spain.
So what activities, like, for us to be able to participate in that you know of that the county is doing to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month?
So different schools do different events. Some do more small and only celebrate with the EL population from that community, from the Hispanic community. Others, like Brocknet, South River, will do a cluster event to celebrate and invite not only the families but the whole community. So I will say be aware of the ASCPS Facebook page in Spanish and others Connect Ed communication that will go out to invite the community to come over, and maybe that's an opportunity for everybody to learn a little bit more of our background.
Yes. So what is actually your Hispanic background?
So I was born in a little island in the Caribbean called Puerto Rico, which is the neighbor of your island, right?
Yes.
I moved here in 2005. I have 2 kids myself here in ASCPS, a rising senior and an 8th grade daughter. And we do celebrate as much as we can our tradition and religious also things, right? We do speak Spanish at home and in the car as much as we can. And I try my best to go back to the island as much as I can and show my kids what 100 by 34 can offer.
I love that so much. So just with your role, how do you think you're like really impacting Hispanic representation, or where do you see in the county we need more of that just to help Hispanic students?
With my journey, I actually started being a TSA in Nantucket. Then later on, I participated in the IPCLA, which is an International Parent in Community Leadership Academy, and that gave me the opportunity to pay back to my Hispanic community. And then I started being an interpreter, a bilingual facilitator, and now with this role. I think as for parents or family members, I will say be involved in your kids' education and try to see what else you can do to bring your own background to the school. And for the students, learn about how can you communicate with that new international student, right, or Hispanic, and try if the sport is something that both have passionate, then practice with them, invite them, and see what other system they actually play in their country, what defense that they have different from yours, and mingle. Right? Don't be afraid to ask questions and how do you say this or how do I pronounce your name correctly. Show respect, and then you will have respect in the back, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you so much today, Ms. Cruz. You really provided a lot of insightful information, not just for me, but I know, of course, for the people watching. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. I want to give a huge thank you to all my guests today who provided their perspectives and insights to help us gain a deeper understanding of the importance of Hispanic Heritage Month. Let us always remember that Hispanic Heritage Month is not just an annual observance, but a continuous celebration of the past, present, and future contributions of the Hispanic community. Your voice, perspective, and experience always matters. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time on Teen Talk.